I'm going to show you how to take your tomato seedlings that you started from seed and to split them up, because a lot of times you get 2 or 3 growing together, and to repot them. So when I start my seedlings, especially the tomatoes, I put them in a little 4-inch pot, and I usually put 5 holes in there, and I'll put anywhere from 2 to 3 seeds in each hole. Usually I get a good, like a 50% germination rate, so only about 1 out of 2 seeds will grow, and it's not a big deal. You know, you'll get a single one here and a single one here and maybe none here, and so it's not a big deal. This year, the seeds that I actually got them from Home Depot, because my nice seeds I'm trying to save in case of an emergency, and if I keep them in their Mylar pouch and don't open them, they last 3 times longer. So this year I just went to Home Depot and I bought some heirloom seeds, and I planted them, and every single seed has grown. I think I have over 200 tomato plants right now, and I spent most of the morning doing this with the others. I have Abraham Lincoln tomatoes, they're heirloom. I have Boxcar Willie tomatoes, red cherry tomatoes, they're all heirloom. These are Roma tomatoes. So I'm going to show you what I do once they get to this point. And they are very long with a lot of like legginess, I guess you could say. They are evenly branched. They have really good top to them, so I wouldn't call them leggy, but there is still a stretch here. And if you can bury that, you'll have roots growing all the way up to here. But you have to have a pot deep enough for that. So what you need besides your little seedlings are some of these little plant labels. You can get them anywhere. I need to find one that's cheaper, but this was all they had locally. So I have these are Roma tomatoes. I have them already written up. You need some potting mix, and you need some pots. Now I can plant 1 seedling in each of these pots, let it double in size, and then plant them outside. I can also put a seedling. These were just like this, but I have buried them. I put the seedling, the roots, all the way down here. This is the plant. This is the top part of the plant. Everything underneath is going to grow roots, and these are going to keep growing up. And so this is going to make a really sturdy plant. So there's all different sizes of pots. Like I said, you can transplant them into this, and then in 3 or 4 weeks put them out in the garden. I'm going to go straight for a gallon size pot, and I'll get that all prepped. Okay, so here's my 1 gallon pot, and this is one that I bought another plant in, and I save all of my pots so I can reuse them. So I'm just going to reuse this for tomato. Once the tomato plant gets to be about 1 foot to 2 feet tall, I'll go ahead and put it in my garden. I live in the Pacific Northwest along the coast, and so it gets very cool, and if I don't keep my warm loving plants like peppers and tomatoes, if I don't keep them inside of a greenhouse, they don't grow. So I try and keep them indoors until they're about ready to bloom. So what you do is you just take your little, I'm going to put my fingers through here, turn it upside down. Lots of beautiful roots there. Now this one is going to be a little challenging because there's one in the middle. Normally I would just break it down here and break it in here, so I would have a little force. This one's going to be a little more challenging because there's one right down the center. And roots are very forgiving. Just like you can prune the top of a plant or a tree, you can also prune the roots. So there, I broke it in half. Now I'm going to break it in half again, and I'm just going to pinch right here and tear, just like a piece of lettuce. Okay, now I've got 2 right here. Each one of these will produce an actual tomato plant, and the same here. So I've pulled these apart. Now I'm going to pull them apart down here at the base. And again, oh, my cat's coming in. I'm just going to grab it and gently pull it apart like that. I have roots on both of them. They're both independent seeds that grew. The roots did intertwine, and so some of those have snapped off, but these are perfectly fine to plant. Now, when I plant it, I am going to go all the way up to here. And all of this is going to grow new roots. Just like on a tree will have little eyes on it, and if you scrape the eye, it will start to grow a new branch. All these little hairs along in here, there's eyes on your tomato plant as well. So when it's underground, it will start growing roots. If it's above ground, it's going to grow the branches and the leaves. So I'm just going to punch a hole in the bottom, and I want to get it as deep as I can so I can get it all the way up to there. And then I'm just going to very gently wiggle it, push it all the way down, and there I have it. Now I'm going to hold on to that right here very gently. I'm not going to squeeze it hard, and I'm going to fill it in with the dirt here. Push it a little bit. I would like to cover up these first two leaves that come out when the seed sprouts. So I have some extra potting soil here, and I just cover it, and I let the dirt fall down along the side of my fingers, and that protects it from getting squashed. And then I'll turn it around and I'll do the same thing on the other side. And there it is. And I like to push it down just a little bit, not hard, just kind of patting it like this. If you push it too hard, you can actually snap the stem under the ground, under the dirt, and you don't want to do that. So here's a tomato, and you always want to make sure you label what's in there so you don't forget. I've got 4 different varieties, and like I said, about 200 tomato plants. So because I have so many this year, I'm actually going to sell them locally for $5 to $10, depending on the size. And these, with heirlooms, you can keep them going year after year after year. You just save the seeds, and that'll be another video on its own. Tomato seeds are a little bit different because you actually have to let them, you put them in water and you let them ferment just a little bit, and then you let them dry out. But this is very easily done, and now I have to finish all of these because I have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to do out of this one little pot.